The Beast. In the miniseries Over the Garden Wall, the Beast is the shadow that haunts the woods. He only gets about 5 minutes of screen time, but it's 5 minutes of perfection. The Beast is a mysterious, malevolent entity. At first, he appears only as a silhouette, glowing eyes, twisted antlers, and a body that seems to melt into the trees and the darkness. He has no origin and no clear form. He just is. And what he does is horrifying. For hundreds of years, he has lured children into these forests, feeding on their despair. When their hope fades, he turns their little bodies into edelwood trees. The Beast is a master manipulator. He will lie and do everything he is capable of to keep you astray and to enforce his will. He tricks the poor woodsman into believing that his daughter's soul is trapped inside a lantern. So the woodsman chops down the edelwood trees to keep the lantern burning, unwittingly cutting through the remains of lost souls to save her. But the Beast lied. It's not the daughter's soul in the lantern. It's the Beast's own. The Beast is always soft-spoken, and he often sings his creepy song while the woodsman works. But when the woodsman's obedience falters after realizing the truth, the Beast's voice drops into a low, primal growl.
Feed the lantern.
Chilling voice acting. Anyways, it is only near the end, and only for a short moment that we get a glimpse of his true form, a writhing mass of wooden faces, frozen in eternal terror. Him. They never say his full name. He is just known as Him, even though Him is obviously androgynous. Anyway, he's without doubt the most terrifying villain in the Powerpuff Girls. And not just because he's strong, but mainly because he uses psychological terror. While the other run-off-the-mill monsters use brute force, Him uses fear, manipulation, and shame. We never really learn why he hates the Powerpuff Girls. He just does. And when he first appears, he possesses a plushy octopus, Bubbles' favorite toy. And for anyone who loved their teddy bear growing up, this was ridiculously creepy. Through a disturbingly eerie whispering voice and unsettling politeness.
Yes, Bubbles, I can talk.
Creepy. Him turns the girls against each other by whispering lies in Bubbles' ears. Him is some kind of demonic entity that feeds on negativity. The more fear and hate in Townsville, the more powerful he becomes. Him wants to break the people of Townsville, make them miserable and corrupt them. One time he even messed with their brains and made them hate the Powerpuff Girls. Awful stuff. He can even use nightmares against you, and he can make you feel guilty and regretful for the bad things that he is doing. Even when defeated, Him always returns. In one alternate future, where the girls vanish for 50 years, the entire world falls under his control. He becomes a godlike entity, unrecognizable from the flamboyant demon in heels we first met. Him is pure evil, theatrical, twisted, and weirdly elegant. The other mother. For many kids, their mother is the most comforting person in the world. And that's what makes the other mother from Coraline so terrifying. She pretends to be your mom, a better version, even, but she's actually a skeletal arachnid demon with shiny black button eyes. The other mother, also known as the Beldam, is a malevolent, shape-shifting entity from another dimension who lures children in with the goal of consuming their souls. She first appeared in Neil Gaiman's 2002 novel, but it was the 2009 stop-motion film that burned her into our nightmares. She creates a dreamlike other world, an idealized mirror of reality, where everything is brighter, warmer, and more exciting. The protagonist, Coraline, discovers this world and is seduced by it. A happier versions of her parents, attention, affection, and delicious food. The Beldam knows exactly what a lonely child wants, and she gives it to them until they're too weak to leave. In every form, she's marked by one unmistakable feature: buttons sewn where her eyes should be. And at first, she closely resembles Coraline's real mother, but with better hair, a warmer smile, and a more playful attitude. As Coraline begins to resist, the illusion falls apart. The other mother becomes taller, thinner, and angrier. Eventually, we see the Beldam's true form, a skeletal spider hybrid with long limbs. Her hands are made of sewing needles and a face that appears to be cracked, resembling porcelain. In the other world, the beldam is nearly omnipotent. She can create life from sawdust and pumpkins. She seems to have a twisted kind of love for her victims, a love that demands to be returned. To stay forever, Coraline must prove her devotion by sewing buttons into her own eyes, unwittingly surrendering her soul. Horrified, Coraline refuses, and that's when the real nightmare begins. The Lich. The Lich in Adventure Time isn't a character you can understand. He has no tragic past, and there are no hidden wounds to redeem him or explain his actions. He does not joke around to make himself less frightening. In a world of pastel candy people and round toy box designs, he is extremely out of place. The Lich is a primordial force of nature, a no-nonsense villain who came to this world on a comet and physically manifested during the Mushroom War, with the single purpose of extinguishing all life. The Lich wields an unholy green fire. He can raise the dead, control minds, and possess bodies, turning the people of the Candy Kingdom into his unwilling tools. Compared to everyone else in the cartoon, his voice is emotionless and hollow, and when he declares,
I am the end,
it feels like a promise. The usual cartoon safety net disappears around him. When the Lich tries to kill, he really tries to kill. Like that one time when he kills the legendary hero, Billy, and uses his skin as a disguise to trick our heroes. Really, Lich? Right in front of the children? Thankfully, Finn and Jake defeats him again and again. He is banished, imprisoned, and even literally wished out of existence. But the Lich always finds a way back into reality, because he isn't just a monster. They're fighting entropy itself. A reminder slipped into a children's cartoon that everything ends. Every villain from Courage the Cowardly Dog. I mean, have you watched this show? Courage the Cowardly Dog was completely unhinged, and we all loved it for that. It's impossible to pick just one creepy villain. There's Freaky Fred, with his disturbing smile and his compulsion to cut every hair in sight, shaving Courage bald. Compared to the others, he's not supernatural, just deeply insane. Others were straight-up sadistic serial killers, like Katz, the recurring red-furred psychopath with a calm British accent who casually turns people into taffy, or feed his hotel guests to his spiders, or the cruel vet who launched Courage's parents into space, orphaning him, or the Stitch sisters who literally sew souls into quilts. Some were horror movie homages, like when Muriel was possessed by a mattress demon, complete with a demonic voice, Exorcist style. There's the Puddle Queen, who can manipulate water itself and drag you down the drain while you shower. But the creepiest ones, they broke the show's animation style. Like King Ramses, the uncanny CGI mummy who seems to drift toward your screen, while his haunting voice demands,
return the slab,
summoning plagues when they don't. Or the Violin Girl, a stop-motion jump scare that lives rent-free in our nightmares. Then there's the Spirit of the Harvest Moon, a floating, literal human head with sunken eyes, demanding they grow a harvest in 10 minutes, or face death by heatwave. And finally, that thing. A blue, bug-eyed humanoid fetus born from Eustace's trumpet. This monstrosity visits Courage in his dreams, just to whisper,
you're not perfect.
What more is there to say? Slade. Slade is one of the main antagonists of Teen Titans, and whenever he's on screen, there's this unmistakable aura of dread. He seems obsessed with destroying the Titans, but you never really learn why. He exists purely to make you feel like something terrible is about to happen to your heroes. He's not the strongest villain. He has no superpowers, and in a fair fight, the Titans could beat him. But it never feels fair. He's always 5 steps ahead. They're playing Ludo while he plays chess. He is always watching them, always knowing the Titans' deepest secrets and weaknesses. And the traps he sets aren't just physical, they're emotional, psychological. Even the way he talks feels sinister.
And I must admit, the fringe benefits were most enjoyable.
He blackmails Robin into becoming his apprentice. He gaslights Tara into betraying her friends, and then wires her suit to override her free will. There is even an entire episode of him trolling Robin from beyond the grave. He is dead, and yet he still manages to haunt Robin through hallucinations, so intense they nearly kill him. Later, Slade gets resurrected from hell by the combined energy of the fans, brought back by a literal demon, now with new fire powers. And yet, somehow, he was more terrifying when he was just a man. And if you've read the comics, let's just say that what he does to Tara here is way worse. Judge Doom. Judge Doom is the main antagonist in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, the corrupt, cold-blooded judge presiding over Toontown. In a world where cartoons live alongside humans, Doom is the law, and he's made it his mission to erase Toontown and its inhabitants, just so he can build a freeway. He acts like a strict authority figure, casually handing out capital punishment with no trial. In one of the most disturbing scenes in any kid's movie, he murders an innocent squeaking cartoon shoe by dipping it in acid, just to make a point. It's clear he's deranged and sadistic. But the real horror is what he is. In the movie's climax, Judge Doom is crushed by a steamroller. It's brutally graphic, but he doesn't die. Instead, he inflates himself, screeching in a cartoon voice, revealing bulging red eyes and spring-loaded limbs. Doom was a toon all along, one so monstrous he turned on his own kind. And then he falls victim to his own acid, and he horrifyingly melts in front of our eyes. I'm still not sure if it was a good idea to merge cartoons with live action. The Wheelers. You might remember The Wizard of Oz as a cheerful musical about friendship and rainbows. Return to Oz is not that. The unofficial sequel is a surreal, borderline horror movie from 1985 that opens with Dorothy being sent to an insane asylum for talking about her experience in Oz. She escapes getting electroshocked and manages to slip back to the magical lands of Oz. But Oz is ruined. Everyone she knew has been turned to stone. The place is crawling with nightmare fuel, and that includes her new friends. Everything is horrifying, the disturbing claymation, the decapitated women. And then, worst of it all, we have the Wheelers.
Come here, chicken!
Jesus Lord Almighty. They're gangly humanoids with wheels instead of hands and feet, long arms that stretch unnaturally. They screech like an old bicycle as they race around corners, and they chase poor Dorothy, screaming that they'll rip her apart for knowing a chicken. Everything about them is wrong. The sound design, the body language, the speed, the cackling, the masks. Oh God, the horrible masks. At least the wheels are seemingly made out of plastic, and not the same material as human nails, as in the novel. That's it for now. Let me know in the comments which childhood villain you think is the creepiest, and why. Thanks for watching. Cheers.